Hello, my name is Alex. Today we're going to go over dorsiflexion limitations in squats. To start off, we're first going to talk about what causes limitations in dorsiflexion. The calves are made up of two muscles called gastrocnemius and soleus. We can see here the big muscle with the two heads on the left side, that is the gastrocnemius, and on the right picture, you can see under those two big heads is another muscle called soleus. They both perform plantar flexion of the ankle, and because of this action, when the muscle is tight, it can lead to restricted dorsiflexion range of motion at the ankle. Here are some examples of squatting with dorsiflexion limitations. We have here on the left first is restricted squat depth. We can see that the person does not squat all the way down. Second is externally rotated hips. Second, the heels raised. And lastly, excessive forward lean of the torso. Now let's talk about the anatomical and biomechanical implications of these compensations. First, we'll see in the middle here is an example of a perfect squat with good form. It has normal dorsiflexion, no excessive forward leaning, the heels are not coming off, good hinge at the hip, and looking forward. Now let's look at the compensation that we see with the lack of dorsiflexion here on the left, with a restricted squat depth. If maintaining all these correct forms, such as not lifting up the heels, not hinging too much of the hip, or excessively leaning forward, this is as much as one can normally do a squat here on the left. Then on the right, we have an example of excessive forward lean. As you can see, the hip does manage to hinge in the back, but the person is leaning a little too much forward, which can cause a lot of strain on the spine, leading to injury. Here we are continuing the compensations. Another example of a good squat form here in the middle. We can see that the feet are hip width apart and the knees are not coming out. Compared to here on the left, we have externally rotated hips too much to compensate with the lack in dorsiflexion. In order to get that hinge and go down, it's better to externally rotate, not better, but it helps to externally rotate the foot, leading to the legs opening up and making a bigger squat depth, as seen here on the left. But it can cause a lot more strain on the hip and spine, leading to injury. Now we're going to switch to the right. Here's the heels raised. As we can see, the heels are raised, which can be from the tight dorsiflexion limitations. And what we want to see is that not coming off, maintaining that good form throughout the whole body to limit risk of injury. To fix these compensations, here we have two corrective strategies for limited dorsiflexion. Starting off with the first one, a static stretch. As you can see here, we're going to begin in a half lunge position, having support either in a wall, or for me, I picked this because I have more space for me to lean forward. As I said, we're going to have both feet behind each other, a little bit of room so that you can bend the knee forward. And for this one, we're going to be focusing on the back leg, maintaining it straight throughout the whole movement and not letting the heel come in. You can see here, keeping the knee straight, we're going to bend forward until you feel that your hair is going to come off, but you don't let it go up. We're going to hold that for at least 30 seconds and then come off of it and switch legs. Then we have here the dynamic stretch. This one we're going to be starting in a full lunge position, focusing on the front leg. As you can see, you lean forward, making sure you get some dorsiflexion here, holding that stretch for about 10 seconds.
Go back.
And coming off, then switching legs. Same thing as the other stretch, we want to focus on the heel not coming off to make sure that the stretch is good for both. In conclusion, proper dorsiflexion range of motion is a crucial part of the squat movement to work the muscles and tendons such as the quads and glutes, as well as to decrease risk of injury with the compensations talked about earlier in the video.